So next game we want to install is Hard Hat. This is a game I've shown a few times on the channel. It's basically like a building block game, kind of, based off of construction. So we have to do this one manually since it's a Windows 3.1 game. There's no auto run. And what's the drive letter for the virtual drive? F. So F setup. Yes, I would like to continue. Alright, Hard Hat is installed. Very, very quick game that doesn't take long to install. Okay, next, King's Quest VII. Another Sierra game. And I'm pretty sure it has an auto run. Ooh, I think it's frozen. Oh, there we go. Okay, just like 3D Ultra Pinball earlier, we do not want to do the test because it's going to give us that divide by zero error. And we'd have to restart the computer, which I do not want to do right now. Again, we do not want to register. Close out of all that. And on to the next game, which is, now I do have Lego Island on here, but I discovered recently, in fact it was in a Nostalgia Mall Christmas video this past year, that Lego Island does not like being run from an ISO. So next we'll install a very, very famous point-and-click adventure game I'm sure you've heard of, Myst. This is the version for Windows 95. It's not much to installing this one. I have a lot of fond memories of playing this game with my aunt on both her Gateway 2000 and our Packard Bell here at home. We both had copies of the game. So next up on our agenda, Need for Speed 3. A very, very nice racing game. I like pretty much all the games in the Need for Speed series, but I think this one is my favorite. It's just to me, I think it's the easiest one to play, but that's just my opinion. Next, we'll give it the maximum because we want everything here. We've got the space to spare. But of course, this probably will take a little bit, so I'll pause the video. Okay, looks like Need for Speed is installed. Do not want to register. Do not want to register. And so on to the next game, which is Rollercoaster Tycoon Deluxe. This is the original Rollercoaster Tycoon, but with all 2 expansion packs included with it. And I'm starting to lose my voice. Rollercoaster Tycoon, I tell you, is one of my favorite games of all time. It's still a game that I could lose about 6 hours of a day playing. And I am not ashamed to admit that. If you really like Rollercoaster Tycoon, I highly recommend checking out the Open RCT2 project. I've been tinkering about with that recently, and it is really cool. It adds a lot of nice features to Rollercoaster Tycoon 2, so definitely check that out if you can. Okay, again, we are not registering a product that is no longer in support, but that's Rollercoaster Tycoon Deluxe fully installed. Next on our agenda is Real Myst 3D. This is a recreation of the original Myst game, but done in an incredibly looking 3D environment. It was very, very power hungry for its time, from what I remember. I remember my aunt playing it on her Dell Dimension 8200 back in like 2002 or so. In fact, I'm not even sure if we'll be able to run it on this system. So yeah, I'm going to save that one for later. So next one is the Lion King Activity Center. I'm surprised I did not have this game growing up, because I really did like The Lion King, and I would have loved to have had a computer game based on that movie. Only thing about installing this game is it's one of those games that automatically starts as soon as it's installed. So I'll have to do a quick little Alt F4 in a moment. There we go. Nice game, but I don't feel like playing it right now. So next is another Lion King based game in a way. This is Timon and Pumba's Jungle Games. I never had the full version of this game growing up. I only had the demo for this game on the Hunchback of Notre Dame CD. Had a demo for this. And while you're installing it, it plays this lovely little ditty.
Hey, Timon, they're ready! Pumba, take your place. We got a lot to do!
Love it when a program installer has a little bit of personality in it. So it wants to test our MIDI. Sounds good to me. Yep, I hear drums. Alright, we'll return to Windows for now. And next we'll head over to let's see, Tonka Search and Rescue. Why not? And we'll go ahead and install that. And this is one of those games where the installer, the progress bar is just the box art being colorized. So that is way too amusing for me for some reason. And that was a game I actually got for my 8th birthday. Oh, this is a game I liked as a kid. The Toy Story animated Storybook. This was an extremely interactive and extremely accurate portrayal of the original Toy Story movie. It doesn't have the original voice actors for the most part. No Tim Allen, no Tom Hanks, but still sounds really, really cool and still looks really, really good. It's almost like it looks just like the movie does in a way. Now, the only problem with this game is that it forces you to install an older version of QuickTime. So we're just going to have to let it have its way and install QuickTime 2.1 on a much newer system than it's needing. But oh well, no big deal. And next, is that all the ISOs, I wonder? A couple more. Truckology, I've shown this game before. Another construction equipment based game that I had as a kid. Do not need QuickTime. This is made by Myst Multimedia, which was, I believe, a part of Maxis, if I'm not mistaken. So next, we're getting close to the end of the ISOs, don't worry. We have Woodruff and the Schnibble. This is a game that I used to play with my aunt quite a bit. This is another Sierra game. And this does not do the tests, so no integer divide by zero error for us this time, thankfully. Okay, do not need WinG because this is not on Windows 3.1. Do not need a boot disk, and we'll restart later. And was that it, I wonder, for the ISOs? Yep, that's all the ISOs I was going to install on here. So, yeah. Okay, now it's time to install games the old-fashioned way from actual CDs that are kept in this big old binder right here, which I will open off camera. And the first thing we are going to install from physical media, let's see, what do we have here? Oh, this is a good one. This is SimCity. This is the Windows port of SimCity, which was originally intended for the Sega CD. And this was actually the first Sonic game I ever played. And we'll go ahead and give it a full install. So yeah, a really good game. Probably one of the best Sonic games ever made, really. Alright, SimCity is installed. Next is another Sonic game. And this one, as soon as I can get it in, is Sonic 3D Blast. Now this Sonic game is not one of the more popular Sonic games, but I actually really like it. So we'll go ahead and get that installed. Reason why a lot of these games I'm installing from physical media and not an ISO is because games like these have CD audio tracks, and they are really hard to make into a disk image. And the game loads up automatically, which we don't want to play right now. Might later. Very good game though. So for our next game, we're going to be installing the Incredible Machine 3.0. Probably one of the greatest computer games ever created, in my opinion. I've shown this on the channel many times. Now this is like a lot of the other Sierra games. It's going to do the divide by zero error if we do the test, so we will not do that. And we'll go ahead and do a large install. If you've never played any of the Incredible Machine games, you are really missing out on something. These are such fun puzzle games. Highly recommend it. In fact, I'd say stop watching this video right now and play some Incredible Machine if you can. So that's the Incredible Machine. Okay, now for a rather infamous game, which I will admit I did play quite a bit as a kid. This is Streets of SimCity. This game pretty much allows you to drive through your cities that you've created in SimCity 2000. Very nice concept, but the game was incredibly flawed. Very, very flawed. And if you want to see more about that, check out LGR's video about Streets of SimCity from a while back. I still like it though. It has a certain charm to it. And of course, the whole game is roughly a parody of a 1970s cop show. Because it was made in the 90s, and back in the 90s, everyone was obsessed with the 70s. So again, we will not restart. Excuse me. Must have been that burrito I had for lunch. Next game is another really good one. This is the original Monster Truck Madness from Microsoft. I remember getting this game at Electronics Boutique back in 1996.
Are you ready for Monster Truck Madness?
And this game kick-started my somewhat minor interest in monster trucks for a few years. Let me put the product key in. Yeah, because of this game, I was inspired to go to the Monster Jam Monster Truck Show every year at the Greensboro Coliseum from 1997 to about 2000, 2001. First year was I went back in '97 was not very memorable because as soon as I got there, I vomited all over the Coliseum. That's a story for another day. That's why you don't
Hey,
go. That's why you don't go to an
Microsoft's
arena
Monster
with a
Truck
stomach
Madness.
bug.
I'm Army Armstrong, and as a TV commentator for Monster Truck Racing, I can tell you that this is as real as it gets. Don't forget to register your game with Microsoft so they can keep you in the loop and up to date on other products that will keep you tickled pink.
Nice. Okay, Monster Truck Madness is ready to go. And it's going to want to start up, but I'm just going to tell it no. Next game on the list is Microsoft's Return of Arcade Anniversary Edition, which includes a lot of old 80s era arcade games like Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, Galaxian, Dig Dug, and Pole Position. I remember getting this game back in, I think, 2002 and playing it quite a bit, actually. So I don't want a desktop icon. And the setup does have sound effects if you remember to turn your speakers up. Alright, Microsoft Return of Arcade is installed. Okay, this game is a necessity for any vintage system like this. We're going to install some good old-fashioned SimCity 2000. And yes, I did play this game quite a bit as a kid. And the setup does have some entertaining sound effects. I believe this is the special edition. Go ahead and install everything. Yes, that is correct. Do not want to register. And we'll go ahead and quit out of that. And there we go. SimCity 2000 is ready to go. Okay, we got another Sega game to install, and this time it's not Sonic, but Daytona USA. Now this is a special edition of Daytona USA that was made just for the PC. And the thing I don't like about it is that while the gameplay is the same, it doesn't have the same music that you would find at the arcade or on the Sega Saturn version, which is very, very disappointing. There might be a way to jam some of the original music into this game, but I do not know how right now. But there we go, that's installed. And we're ready to play Daytona USA Deluxe if we so desire. Next is the sequel to Tonka Construction, very cleverly named Tonka Construction 2. Now, I've been installing this game on these Windows 98 era systems for a while, but I don't think I've really played this game since I was a kid. I need to sit down and play it sometime for the first time in probably 20 years. This came out in like 1999 or 2000, somewhere around there. But it was a really good game. I highly recommend it. And the cool thing about this game is it comes with a full-fledged Tonka Construction adventure cartoon included, which might be on YouTube, I don't know. There'll be an icon for it that'll come up in a moment, and that will remind me what the name of it is. And Awesome Truck Adventures movie, so check that out if you so desire. Next up, Jackrabbit 2. A game from, I believe, 1998, so it should run on the system perfectly well. And this is a really good game, but I must admit the original DOS version of Jackrabbit from 1994 is a bit better in my opinion. But that's just me. Alright, Jackrabbit 2 is successfully installed. And I believe that'll do it for the games in the binder. We have some other CDs that are still in their cases over on the other wall here that I'll need to grab. Okay, now for some 3D Ultra Mini Golf from Sierra. This is from 1997, I believe. Pop that in the drive. Hope this video isn't too long for you guys. Now the setup does look newer than before. but it's also going to have the same divide by zero error from before. So again, we will not do the testing, and I do not want those demos, and I want a large install. So here we go. Again, no to registration. And there we go. Now we got some 3D Ultra Mini Golf. Very fun game, I must admit. Now, just for the fun of it, I doubt I'll really ever use it. I'm going to install a copy of Encarta on here, Microsoft Encarta 98, which is era appropriate for this kind of computer. And this is the OEM version CD that came with my Toshiba Satellite 2505 CDS back in the day. So I've had it since 1999. Next, accept, finish. You can probably tell I do install everything on these computers when I first get Windows installed. I'm not messing around here. Okay, Encarta 98 is ready to go. Even though I doubt I'll ever really use it, but I got the hard drive space, so why not? Okay, now for the sequel to Monster Truck Madness, cleverly named Monster Truck Madness 2. This is a good little sequel to Monster Truck Madness. Not as good as the original, though, I will say. But this game does support 3D accelerators. As a matter of fact, the original game does as well.
This is Army Armstrong. Are you ready for Monster Truck Madness 2?
Not really. I totally accept that. Okay, okay. Yes. To a typical setup. Might give that game a try sometime. Precision Racing. It's just Formula 1 racing, basically, I think. No, IndyCar racing. I apologize. Okie dokie. Do not want an icon on desktop.
Let's get racing with Monster Truck Madness 2.
How about later? I don't feel like... Okay, we got at least one more Sierra game to install, and this is the Incredible Toon Machine. This is the wackier, zanier version of the Incredible Machine. And here's the CD on its blue Kidsoft Select CD. I had so many of these growing up. And since this was a pre-95 game, this will have to be done manually. E:/install. It's a very quick game to install from what I remember. Installation is complete. And setup error, but that happens all the time. That means nothing. Next up is 7th Level's Toonland, which was very commonly found on Packard Bell systems pre-installed, but this is the non-Packard Bell OEM version. So we'll go ahead and pop that in. This game, of course, stars the voice of Howie Mandel. And we'll do a full install. Quick. And let it go to work. Okay, that took a bit, that didn't take as long as I expected. But there we go, Toonland, ready to go. Now for some Earthworm Jim 3D. This is the third game in the Earthworm Jim series. And not the biggest fan of this game compared to the original game. But it's still pretty decent. This one actually has the voice of Dan Castellaneta, who voiced Earthworm Jim in the cartoon series on the WB. You know, what's interesting, there was never an official Windows release of Earthworm Jim 2. I remember playing it on my Sega Saturn, but on the computer, they only, I think that there was a DOS version of Earthworm Jim 2, but I'm not sure how official that was, and it was a little bit glitchy from what I remember. Okay, do not want DirectX 7, we've already got 9 on here. And we do not want to register. And there we go. Earthworm Jim 3D ready to go. Now for a game that needs absolutely no introduction. Lego Island. I absolutely loved this game growing up, and a lot of other people did as well. Has a very, very strong cult following these days, and for good reason. Very good game. I remember first getting it back in 1997 and playing it on the Packard Bell Legend 822 CDT and having a very hard time trying to get it installed because there was some kind of weird DirectX compatibility problem on that computer. And I remember it ran on that computer, but not very well. This game was really not made with 100 megahertz Pentiums in mind. But once we upgraded to the HP Pavilion in 1999 with a Celeron in it, ran a lot better. And again, we do not need DirectX. And there we go. There's a copy of Lego Island ready to be played. And now for the final game we will be installing on this computer, at least for now. Here is a game called Connections, a point-and-click game based off of a TV show, I believe from the 70s. And this is a game that my mom actually played on the Packard Bell back in the day. And I haven't played it in years, but I do remember it being a very fun and intriguing game. So we'll go ahead and install it. This is also from the Discovery Channel, people who brought us the Big Job game. And again, we do not need QuickTime. And there we go. Thank you for visiting the Nostalgia Mall. If you liked what you saw, please like, subscribe, and follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also support me on Patreon if you would like. The link to all of these are down below. Until next time, this is Billy Core, signing off.